Alright, well, this is working. Welcome everybody. The Game Tavern is open for business. And that's not supposed to be doing that. There we go. Frame drops on OBS. We're just being a little wonk. Now, I guess first things first, if you're actually watching this, so you can see that this is going to be a little segue into what I'm going to be doing tonight, which is going to be a lot less serious, a lot more fun. You know, my typical nonsense with me and a couple of the other boys, but I just wanted to start up this sort of stream to just kind of get some thoughts that have been rattling around in my head like marbles in a dryer. So just bear with me as I just kind of talk about what's kind of been itching the old gray matter. So, and I guess it's just it's nothing overly serious. I think. I don't know. Everything seems to be serious on the internet, especially social media. That's a lengthy separate rant, but it's basically just giving my thoughts on the entire rigmarole going on with the Nintendo Switch 2. Now, to give the best TLDR I could give is that, well, the Switch has released, and prior to its release, a lot of stuff came out about it that, well, kind of rubbed a lot of people the wrong way, from the price increase to the over monetization of basic things such as using voice communication to what else? What else is there? Oh yeah, the what is it? The $80 price hike for a quote unquote physical copy, which basically it's just a piece of plastic with a code on it that allows you to install it digitally. It's not even like a physical it's not even like any physical data on that thing like there was on the Switch 1. The pay the fact that you actually had to pay for $10 for an instructional guide on how the damn thing works. And honestly, it's just a whole rabbit hole of half a dozen at bare minimum other things Nintendo has gotten up to, which has has gotten a lot of people rather fed up. And I mean, I'm talking like like regular game hobbyists and Nintendo fans alike. And that's perfectly fine. People have a right to talk about something that if they something that they enjoy, they feel like is kind of taking a wrong turn. And I definitely believe that nothing is above scrutiny. The number one issue I've had lately is that it just feels like the entire point of what was initially supposed to be a boycott of Switch 2 due to these you know these decisions that the company has made that clearly did anger a lot of people, to the point where I think one official Nintendo live stream explaining the upcoming Switch 2 was just filled to the brim with people demanding lowering of the price of both the console and the games. Now, I want to make it clear I totally understand the frustration people have had. Hell, I have this same frustration with these price hikes. The $70 I was not a fan of. These $80 I when I first heard that, I'm just thinking, oh no. Because it basically just guaranteed, and sadly it did happen. A lot of other companies and publishers like Xbox and PlayStation, they started they started hiking up the prices of their machines, their games, And I was just sitting there thinking, oh, this hobby is screwed if this keeps up. But and I admit, like I sort of got on that high horse of just like, you know, I cannot in any good way say that this is a good idea by Nintendo. And ask any of my friends, I've been quite vocal about how much I think this was completely idiotic. And I at first had no problem with other people just justifiably having some outrage, but most of us believe that you know Nintendo being Nintendo, which honestly, like, I'm just going to rant about this. It feels like every time Nintendo, like, doing anything that just is justifiably idiotic. I mean, the whole Pal World lawsuit, their ridiculous copyright enforcements, just believing they can just say damn Eddie, like damn oversee laws, and they can just bully whoever the hell they want across the world. I'm I'm not okay. I admit I'm going off on a tangent. Let me just focus back. So yeah, it just feels like constantly Nintendo has always gotten the kitty gloves when it comes to the consumers having an issue with their practices. Like, it just feels like it always just gets swept back under the rug. But some people believe, okay, this is the time they've finally gone too far. People, the general public is basically just going to say no, screw off. We're not going to put up with this. But that's not exactly what happened. As there are people who just probably um don't follow this as much, or just people who are much more kind of casual, for lack of a better term. They ended up buying the thing because they just think, oh, it's a new Switch, new games coming out. Now, if I had to say one thing about this whole launch that people might just nail me to a cross to, is that I do have to concede that, at least from what I've seen of the games coming out to it, like the Mario Kart World and the newest Donkey Kong, like, you know, I'll tip my hat. Those games actually look good. They actually look pretty fun. It's once again Nintendo sticking to what they are famous for, and I can't knock that. I mean, especially in a time where just it feels like a lot of developers just kind of want to tell their original core audience to pound sand. I have to admit, that at least that Nintendo has done right, and I cannot deny that. But that still doesn't really justify these sorts of price hikes, in my view. Sorry, just having a drink. Um, what else? But I guess, like, I can understand people just sort of being a little frustrated that despite giving their full honest words about this whole situation, that it feels like they're being ignored. This is where I just sort of have to, I guess, kind of give some 2 cents on how people are taking, I guess, kind of the more outside crowd who just thought, oh, new Switch, I like Nintendo. Sucks that it's pricier, but you know, I think I'm just still gonna get it because I might end up really enjoying this. So, and and again, I'm saying just like these, normal everyday people who don't really have a huge influence. I'm not talking like the people who were so adamant about not buying this damn thing and went ahead and bought it anyway. If you know, I'm not gonna spend too much on that because I can understand calling people out for that. But this is just something about, like, the more casual side. You just you know messaging is important, and honestly, this is just especially to the nut jobs on social media, you need to learn that not everyone is terminally online. I'm not kidding. I saw some absolutely egregious crap once of people just like posting that they got a Switch, and the genuine just awful shit I heard coming out of some of these people when they were replying was maddening. And that's as much as I want to say. I don't even want to um give too much of this because I just think it's egregious. And what I also just think is ridiculous is just bullying the shit out of people who probably just don't care and we're gonna get this thing anyway. I'm just gonna let you in on a little hint. I've heard some people say, "Oh, we need to bring back bullying to make people rethink their decisions." Let me tell you what this is only going to end up doing. This is only going to end up making people buy, hell, maybe even buy more of this damn thing just to say "fuck you." And if you think I'm being crazy, oh, it happened before. I don't know, like, without getting too much into this. Remember the whole thing about Hogwarts Legacy? Remember the shit show that was attempted to be made on that? And again, I'm not going to mention too much about the whole background behind this, but this is what happened. People were upset. People had a particular reason to be upset about Hogwarts Legacy, and just like, people absolutely got into a piss fit, bullied the shit out of people who were interested in this game. And a whole slew of people, some of them who didn't even give two shits about Harry Potter, just decided, you know what, I'm gonna buy this game. Hell, I'm gonna buy 2 copies of this game just to watch you fucking cry a river. And the game ended up being one of the best selling titles of that year. So this is sort of my take on this. You are perfectly allowed to have your opinions, what you believe is and isn't worth your money, what you want to support. That is 100% your right. And you also have a right to speak about that. Here's what doesn't help. What doesn't help is just literally just screaming bloody murder at people who just want to who just think it would be cool to fucking play Mario Kart. Like, you're not doing anything. Like, if people want to just like don't care, they just want to buy the damn thing because they think they're gonna enjoy the games. It's whatever. That is their right. I don't control people. I don't control people's habits. I mean, seriously. There's a fine difference between having your own like reasons, principles, whatever you want to call them, for not wanting to support something, and being on a fucking high horse thinking you're the arbiter of what is and isn't like good practices. I mean, I have a perfect case in point for myself, and that was the Minecraft movie. I absolutely had zero interest in that movie. I thought it was a brain rot piece of crap, and I didn't want anything to do with it. And I explained that to a few of my friends. I was just like, I'm not gonna watch this movie. I think I personally think it's insulting a lot to just like the intelligence of young people. And yeah, I can't wait to hear about the debates about that in the comments. I just didn't want to support it because I just don't want to support a project that's just just basically just saying, oh, kids are stupid, and it just throw it on and watch the money come in. I just thought, you know what? No, you're not gonna put any effort into this. Fuck you. If you're not gonna put any effort, why should I give this my time? But again, I'm free to have a discussion about that. But if you ended up seeing the movie, if you like the movie, fucking, I don't care. glad you found some enjoyment out of something I couldn't. Look, I'm not trying to be any arbiter myself. But shit, I have my own rather hot takes on what I enjoy that I know most other people do not. I'm a Star Wars prequel fan, for Christ's sake. I understand. I understand being on kind of the short end of the stick. But and somebody tried to say I would. I get one of my friends tried to say I was on a high horse. I'm not naming names, but I just said I'm giving my opinion. It is not a high horse. I'm just not going to watch this. If you want to watch it, no skin off my back. And that's sort of where I'm getting at. Is that if people just really genuinely don't give a shit because they're just not on social media or just on the internet in general an unhealthy amount of times, like me and a lot of people, just you know, it's a bad idea just to be antagonistic because Lord knows it has become enough of a problem in general today. Everyone is fucking antagonistic about the stupidest shit. And yes, I do agree that a lot of what Nintendo is doing with the Switch 2 is idiotic. Hell, I fully agree that it's going to butterfly affect the rest of the industry unless we start saying, "Hey, knock this shit off." But just but this us versus them mentality is quite frankly doing more harm to sending that message than helping it. You know, the best thing you can do is just be silent. Just you say, you know what? I'm not doing this. Just close your wallet. Don't buy the damn thing. Just let the just let the information about what's going on with it just get out there. And just let people make their own informed decisions and just don't say anything when they make that decision. You know, if they decide, I'm not going to buy this thing, it is way too damn pricey and the games just aren't worth it. Or even if they just say, I'm really looking forward to this game. I think it's going to be awesome. I'm willing to bite the bullet on the price. Just let them do it. Just let them do it. I guarantee. I guarantee majority of the people getting these are grown adults. They're making their own decisions, and it just should be none of your damn business. Or at the very least, just stop being a fucking asshole. Because again, it's going to create the opposite effect of what you want to happen. Once again, I'll repeat, Hogwarts Legacy. Look what happened with that. People wanted that game to, a very vocal sect wanted that game to die, and now it's been confirmed to get a sequel, I believe. Might need to double check that, but the point still stands. Just it's just something about the internet just ratchets people's ires up to 11. And I'm not going to say I'm the Zen master. You guys have seen me just blow my top on things. Shit, I blew my top last night during the Genshin stream. It's just like it just makes no sense. Because look at it from their perspective. You're just here, from just like there's this thing, oh, I got this really cool thing. I think I'm gonna have a lot of fun. And you're just inundated with people who just seem to want you to be nailed to a cross. Over, and thinking that they can just have infinite say on what you do with your money that you work to make. And I get it. I get it. there are bootlickers. I'm not going to deny that. There are bootlickers. But just stop for a moment and just think, is this person a bootlicker, or are they just, they just decided, you know what, I'm gonna get this, because let's face it, it's a lot of people who are just buying this probably are not just super up to date on what's going on. They are casual consumers, and you can feel free to say I'm not gonna buy this thing. I don't support what they're doing, but more power to you if you want. If you wanna, hope good for you. Hope you have fun. Just don't. Just. It's this constant rice purity score bullshit. Just don't pull this rice purity score bullshit. I think I've rambled enough, so the small chance that even one person catches this stream or the VOD, it just kind of helps them kind of take a step back, think, being this big of an asshole really going to change people's minds, or is it going to do the opposite effect? I think it was worth it. It probably wasn't worth anything. I've seen my viewer numbers, but if even one person gets this message, it's worth it. So that's all. That's going to be all for this one. Short but sweet. But I'll be coming back online later tonight. Around 9 Eastern, to to spin up some talk about something a little more positive with a few of my buds. So look forward to that. I just really needed to get this off my chest and kind of just say what was on my mind. And if any of you took some time out of your day to listen to me, thanks. I thought about writing a script and just doing a video, but I just thought, nah, I'm more comfortable with streaming because I just feel like that allows me to be a little more real and genuine. But I don't know. Lots of thoughts for you guys to give me in the VOD comments. I always welcome feedback. Any way to improve is welcome. And I'm gonna stop rambling. I'm gonna do some other stuff. And I'm gonna get ready for my. I'm gonna get us back to our regularly scheduled streams. So I'll see you during the Game Tavern's normal business hours.